everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel and today I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I plan to read in the month of August. So August is a very exciting month. I have so many amazing 5-star predictions for this month. I don't know how it happened, but everything on my TBR is like a very strong 5-star prediction. I usually do try to pick up books that I think I will give 4 or 5 stars to, but I feel very strongly about every single book on my TBR that it is going to be a very high rating for me. So I'm very excited. It's going to be a really good month. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Let's talk about the books that I want to read this month. So the first book on my August TBR is a carryover from July. I just wasn't able to get to it for one reason or another, but I'm really excited to read it. This is going to be a buddy read with my friend Hannah over at Hannah's Recent Reads. We are going to be reading Glow by Raven Kennedy. So this is the 4th book in the Plated Prisoner series, which is a King Midas retelling. It's a fantasy romance series, but it's more fantasy than romance, I would say. I have heard that the 4th book is kind of where the romance is at the forefront, so I'm very excited. I have seen so many incredible things about this book. I have seen people say that this is their favorite book of the year. I've definitely seen people say it's the best book in the series, so I'm very excited. I have very, very high hopes, and I am so excited to read this with Hannah. Okay, the next book on my August TBR I am so excited for. So my friend Cami over at Burrows and Books, she is co-hosting a Twilight read along. So I'm absolutely going to be participating. This series is just so much fun. I unfortunately did not read this series as it was coming out when I think I was in like middle school, I want to say, when it was coming out, but I didn't read it then. I don't know why. I failed. I don't know what I was doing, but I did read this series actually for the first time last year, and it was so fun. It was so enjoyable. I am a huge fan of the movies. Like, I absolutely love them. I think that they are perfection. So reading them after seeing the movies was a very fun experience for me because I got to imagine all of the characters as the actors in Twilight, and it was just so good. So Cami is hosting a Twilight read along. I think it's going from August to December. I will have her announcement video linked down below if you guys want to go watch that and join. But in the month of August, we are reading Twilight. This is my favorite book in the series, so I am so excited to be reading this and get to experience all of the wonderful Edward and Bella goodness. The next book on my August TBR is of course going to be Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J Maas. This is the finale of the Throne of Glass series. I am so sad that my reread is ending. Rereading this series really solidified that this is my favorite Sarah J Maas series. I had always kind of toyed between ACOTAR and this one, but I just think that the plot is so fantastic in this series, and the planning and the characters and everything, just, it means so much to me. So I am going to be reading the finale this month, and I'm just so sad. I'm so sad. But I remember reading the series for the first time. I had no bookish friends. I had nobody to talk about it with. I remember the day so clearly. I was sitting in my living room. I read the last like 500 pages in one sitting, and I was just crying on and off the whole time because, like, if you know, you know. There are some scenes in here that live in my head rent-free. I think about them to this day, and I am ready to get hurt again. I am ready to experience them again. I just think that this is a really beautiful finale. I know it's like kind of all over the place and a lot is happening, but I really enjoyed it, and I think it's so satisfying, and I'm just so excited to experience this again. This is part of my buddy reread with Sahar over at Basically Bookish Reads. I do think Sahar is a little behind. I think she's on Queen of Shadows, but regardless, I've had such a great time reading the series with her. We both love this series so much. The next book that I'm so excited to read in the month of August is You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akwaeke Emezi. This book is so gorgeous. I love the cover. It totally just, like, when I saw it on Instagram, I was like, oh my god, what is that? And the story sounds amazing. I think it's kind of like romance / literary fiction. That's the vibe that I'm getting. But our main character, she suffers the loss of the love of her life. Years later, she tries to find love again, and I think we sort of just follow her journey of healing, a second chance at romance, and kind of who she ends up with and what happens along the way. I'm excited. It sounds like such a good, beautiful, probably very emotional read, which sounds really good right now. I'm kind of in the mood for books that are going to hurt my feelings. I want sad books. I want emotional books. Even if they have a happy ending, I want it to be painful on the way there. So I'm excited for this, and I do hope that it does have some kind of like pull at your heartstrings, sad but also happy romance. The next book that I want to read in the month of August is Twisted Lies by Anna Huang. This is the final book in the Twisted series, which I am so sad that this is ending. I have grown to absolutely love this series. Twisted Games and Twisted Hate are such good books. I rated Twisted Games, the second book, 4 stars. I rated Twisted Hate, the third book, 5 stars. It was just, amazing. And this is the finale. This is Christian and Stella's story. I'm very excited. We got little peeks and hints at the two of them in Twisted Hate, but now we're actually going to be getting their story, and I'm so excited to get inside Christian's head. I need to know what he thinks because he's so mysterious. And I also know that this is kind of like the epilogue novel a little bit. Anna Huang did say that she's closing out everyone's story in this book, so I'm so sad to leave this world. I really, really like these characters and these couples, and I am so excited because I'm going to be buddy reading this with Christina at Christina's Chapters and Cami at Burrows and Books. All three of us loved Twisted Games and Twisted Hate. Like, oh my god, loved so much. We're all really excited to read this, and I think we'll read it pretty quickly. The next book on my August TBR is kind of a wild card, but I sort of casually decided to start this book in July, and I only got a little bit into it, got distracted by some other things, but I do want to keep on reading it because I really like it, and I just think this is the type of book that I'm going to take my time with, not really make myself rush, and that is Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I've never read a Brandon Sanderson book. I really, really want to read the Stormlight Archives. I know that that's kind of everyone's favorites from what I'm gathering, and I did hear that this is a good book to start with if you have never read a Brandon Sanderson book. So honestly, I don't really know what this is about. It's a fantasy novel. It's an adult fantasy by Brandon Sanderson. I have no idea what this is about. I'm excited though. I've heard a lot of great things though. When I posted about this on my story, a lot of people were like, oh, that's such a fantastic book. I absolutely loved it. 5 stars. So I'm excited to start this, get a taste of Brandy Sandy's writing, and then hopefully get to the Stormlight Archives probably in the fall. I definitely like to read more fantasy books in the fall and the winter, so I feel like this will be a good stepping stone to get me in that mood. Okay, the next book, well, the next 2 books on my August TBR, they are related and I am so excited, but I'm going to talk about them separately. So just a little backstory. In the month of July, I found out about a book called Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings from my wonderful friend Lachlan over at Locke's Library. I will also have her channel linked down below. And she was talking about this book. It is a contemporary romance and she just loved it. And she made so many posts about it. She made it sound so great. So I decided to pick up the first book, Magnolia Parks, this month. And I just finished it yesterday. There's a vlog coming. It'll probably be posted after this video, so just wait and see my thoughts then or in my July wrap up, but I absolutely loved it. Like, it blew me away. I loved it so much. I can't stop thinking about the characters, like, and I cried so hard when I finished that book, and I'm obsessed. And what is so fantastic is that this author is kind of at the moment sort of creating like a Magnolia Parks universe. She has written more books in the POVs of the characters in Magnolia Parks, but there are also other characters that we meet in that first book that also kind of get their own books with their own POVs. So it's all in the same universe. It's all kind of the same players, but it's different POVs and different things going on at the same time. It's kind of like if you've read the Addicted and Calloway Sisters series. You know how you read like 3 Addicted books and then 2 Calloway Sisters books and then 2 Addicted, and you kind of go back and forth. Some of it is just from other people's perspectives, but you sort of follow different love stories. Well, that is kind of a similar thing that Jessa Hastings has done. I've read the first Magnolia Parks book. The next book that you read in the Magnolia Parks universe is Daisy Hates. Honestly, I don't really know like how to talk about this because I don't want to spoil anything for the first book, but this follows Daisy Hates. We also have the POV of her brother Julian Hates, and then we also have the POV of a character that we met in the first book named Christian. I don't know what's going to happen in this book. I'm pretty blind, honestly, but the entire Magnolia Parks universe is following these like rich kids, socialites living in London. If Gossip Girl, Euphoria, and the Calloway Sisters series had a baby, it would be these books. We're just following another one of the very rich, very interesting, very mysterious character, Daisy Hates. She was very mysterious in the first book. I'm really excited to get in her head and see what she's all about. And we follow her love story, maybe. I have no idea if this is going to be a happy ending. I have no idea what's going to happen between her and some of the characters in this book, but we are going to be switching POVs, and I think this is kind of the same story that happened in Magnolia Parks, but just from other POVs and the other events that were going on during that time. I'm so excited to read this. It's a beautiful book too. Like, I'm absolutely obsessed, and yeah, I'm so excited. Okay, and the next book that I want to read in the month of August is The Long Way Home. So this is the second Magnolia Parks book, but it is the third book that you read in the Magnolia Parks universe. My advice to you, if this is all confusing, is just read them in publication order. So this is kind of the follow-up to the first book, which I can't, but I'm really excited to read this. I'm also so nervous to read this. Lachlan said this is her new favorite book of all time. She cried so hard. I don't even know what I'm in for. Once again, I absolutely love the cover. I think it's so interesting. I love that she makes romance novels with very interesting covers. And what's cool is in the first book, Magnolia Parks, on the cover, there's all these different things and they all are actually in the novel. So all the connections start to make sense and the cover starts to make sense. So I imagine this will also do the same. I am going to be filming a Daisy Hates and Long Way Home spoiler-free reading vlog in the month of August. So look out for that. And I'm just so excited to get my feelings hurt. I can't wait. All right, and then the next book that I want to read in the month of August is on Kindle Unlimited. I'm 99% sure, and I should have looked this up before I started filming, but here we are. I'll put a picture up, but I believe that the book is called To Love with Jason Thorne or To Love Jason Thorne. Once again, I will have a picture up. It is by Ella Mays. I am currently also reading Marriage for One by Ella Mays, and I'm loving it. I love her writing style, so I want to read more of her books. This book follows like childhood sort of enemies to lovers is kind of the storyline I'm getting. So our main character, she hates her brother's best friend when they are kids. They really don't get along. And then they grow up and our main character, she has become an author and her book is getting turned into a movie. So it's getting an adaptation. And then Jason Thorne, who was, her brother's best friend that she didn't get along with growing up, he grew up to become an actor and he's going to be starring in her adaptation. And I believe they haven't seen each other in a really long time. And I just think that that sounds so cool. I love like childhood friends or enemies to lovers because I love having that backstory and I love the sort of Hollywood aspect. I feel like this is going to be really, really good. And then the last book that I want to get to in the month of August is Waking Olivia by Elizabeth O'Rourke. I don't know too much about this book. I do know that it is sort of like Culty by Mariana Zapata, where we have our main character. She is a runner. She is a track star. She goes to university and I think she has a romance with her coach, which I'm so excited. It sounds really good. I've heard it's very, very angsty, which like I just need that. And that's really all I know. It's a Kindle Unlimited romance wreck and kind of a sports romance, kind of an age gap romance, I think, something like that. But I'm excited. I've heard a lot of great things and I think I'm going to love it. So that is it for my August TBR. I do have a couple other books on my mind, but I'm going to keep those part of my secret TBR and just put those out in vlogs. If you made it to this point in the video, go ahead and leave. Let's leave like a vampire or a wolf or like blood or something, anything that represents Twilight to you. Go ahead and leave the vampire, wolf, blood, anything like that, a Twilight related emoji to let me know that you made it to the end. As always, my Instagram and my Goodreads are linked down below. You are welcome to follow me on there anytime. I really, really appreciate that you watched this video. I hope that you are having a fantastic day and I will catch you guys in the next one.